Attention, all of my elevated content seekers. We Believe Digital is designed to inspire. Whether it's music, news, entertainment, We Believe Digital has the content that you don't want to miss. We're bringing you the best in news, entertainment, sports, inspiration, and so much more. Not only are we designed to inspire, but you can advertise with us and reach your target audience now. Got something that you believe in? Well, we believe in you, and we're offering you the opportunity to become a podcaster at We Believe Digital Studios. To become a want to know more? You can contact us at www.webelievedigital.com. And while you're at it, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Roku at We Believe Digital.
And welcome to Doc and Sock. We're broadcasting live from right here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mississippi, my hometown. I call it a town, not a state, because we know one another. There are less than 3 million people in the state of Mississippi. In Chicago, you got over 6 million people. Last time I was in Chicago, I was as nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof, because everywhere I turned, there was somebody bumping into me. We can go for days and days in Mississippi and not see a single soul. Mississippi has some of the best climates in the world. We got great lakes. We got great golf courses. We got everything that we need to be number one. But yet we're number last. Last in everything meaningful, first in everything that's unmeaningful. Anything that will bring you down as a state and a city and the community, we have some of that in Mississippi. Now, if you're watching us on Facebook, share this program with your friends and family, send us stars, subscribe to the program. We know you're watching. We appreciate that. We look at the analytics. We know where you're watching from. To all of my friends on the international market, as far away as Vietnam, we appreciate your viewership of this program, because this is the kind of content that you won't find anywhere else in the world. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to the program, hit the notification bell so that you know when we're going live. You know, YouTube is probably the leading platform for African Americans to move into the mainstream media as much as they can. But we're also on TikTok and Twitch, Instagram, Facebook. We're on all of those platforms as well. So y'all stay tuned, buckle up. We're getting ready to rock and roll with my co-host, the distinguished gentleman from the Mississippi Delta, Dr. Eldridge Henderson. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fine, sir, and I hope you're doing the same. Matter of fact, I know you are. You've had a good day and a good weekend, and now you're ready to go to work as you normally do. That's great. A lot of people don't have jobs.
Well, I certainly don't see this as a job. This is something that we're not paid to do. Most jobs, you get a check. I haven't seen the check yet, have you?
Not yet. Not yet.
But we know it's in the mail.
It's in the mail, and it's going to be a big check, too. Just have to have patience.
Doc, it's tragic news.
What is that, sir?
I understand that you lost the patriarch of the family. Let's spend a moment talking about that great man, who he was and how he lived and what he thought.
Well, that's correct. My dad died this morning about 9:30 a.m., and he was 102 years old. He was born in Bolton, Mississippi, and worked hard all of his life up until last year. He had a job, 2 part-time jobs during the last 15 years, worked at the funeral home and cut hair. And prior to that time, he was a construction specialist, worked in the industry and helped build subdivisions with a pick and a shovel. Foundation man.
Mm.
And then he got a job with the state highway department and helped with roads, potholes, and things of that nature. So he worked about 90 years, 90 years in the great state of Mississippi. He only left Mississippi one time when he was drafted into the military. They put him in the Navy and sent him home for a few days. And he decided after he talked to the plantation owner that he didn't want to be in the military. And he was over the draft board, the plantation owner. And that plantation owner told him, you don't have to be in the military. You have a good job with me. So he didn't go back. That was during World War II. And he'd been working ever since. And he's gone now. We call it the Promised Land.
The Promised Land.
Promised Land. I don't know
Where
which one.
is that located?
Well, there are two places. One allegedly is in heaven, and the other one is in hell. And since I'm such a nice moderate, I don't know where he going or went.
Do you believe in heaven and hell?
No, I do not. That's why I say I'm a moderate in that respect. People go where they think they are going, in my mind.
In your mind?
Yes, or where they prepare themselves to go during their lifetime.
But you think they're going to go somewhere?
That's a fact. They are going to go somewhere, and mankind doesn't know where there's going to be.
And when they get there, what do you think that'll be like?
Well, it's not going to be like anything because the imagination is, as you see in your mind from what you have been told, it's supposed to be a glaring positive experience when they get up in heaven, of course. And you know, the story is that it's going to be paradise, streets of gold, angels flying around, sitting around talking to Peter and John, Joseph, Mary, Magdalene, and working with Jesus when you get ready and talking to him and just walking in the garden. And then those that are not fortunate going to be down close to China in hell, as they call it, catching hell 24 hours a day with the fire, with the forks. The forks going to be lifting them like you do on a barbecue from what people have been led to believe. Now, you know, all of that is man-made propaganda, and there's nothing to it because we all know that people make things up to opiate one's mind, to get them addicted on a theory or some kind of philosophy and make them know that if you do certain things, you're going to suffer. And if you do other things that are positive, you're going to have great rewards when you die.
Now, Doc, you know, most African Americans are very religious. They, 95%, I don't know what the percentage is, but a large percentage of them identify themselves as Christians, Southern Baptists, to be more specific. But I believe there's two organizations that controls the Baptist Church. There's the Baptist, the Southern Baptist, then there is the Negro branch of the Southern Baptist. I believe we had a distinguished pastor that was president of the Southern Baptist, Dr. Jerry Young, the pastor of New Hope Church. Now, or do we have two separate organizations?
Well, they are semi-separate. Now, you know, the Southern Baptists that are controlled by the white folks had to throw an appeasement to the Black Baptists and told the Black Baptists, you can come with us, let your organization go. They used that same tactic that your Black leaders, Dr. Martin Luther King and some of the others did during the 1960s. They said, we want you Black Baptists to integrate with us. We're going to be fair. We're going to give you leadership positions. We don't need two groups of Baptists in the South or in America. Come with us. And they did that. A lot of Baptists got rid of their old rules, regulations, leadership status reports, and said, we're going to throw it away and get with the Southern Baptists. And they made one Black man a fictitious president or leader for a while, and all the other Black Baptists were in what I call third-rated positions with no real responsibility, but with a decent salary. And now a few have started leaving, and they shouldn't have joined that organization in the first place. Now, when you look at history, Mr. Socrates, you see they were doing the same thing the people did during the 1960s when they wanted to get with this so-called new thing called integration. Abandon all your businesses. In this respect, your churches, your church leadership teams, your organization, join the others and reap the good rewards which they didn't reap. So that's what you all like to hear. New things, joining with others, integration.
Do you believe that blacks ought to isolate themselves?
No, they should not. They should pool their own resources and have their own churches and businesses, schools, colleges, universities, and have the same thing they are going to others to get, and be in the positions of leadership and management and be able to make policy, hire people, spend the money, and buy the things they need. They have the money to do it. Black folks have more money than almost any group around. We spend millions and billions of dollars every year and don't have very much to account for. You can't find 5 major black hotels in the whole of the United States. You can't find 3 major black hospitals that's making a profit in the United States. You can't find not one dealership that's making over $3 million. I mean, a new car dealership in the United States. And black folks buy more cars and have more health problems than anyone in America, and don't own anything. Not even a convenience store that's making over $30,000 a year.
Now, Doc, we're gonna deal with the issues surrounding why black folk are unable to move themselves out of poverty and out of places that continue to keep them beat down and not trying to get ahead and live the American dream and focus on the quality of life issues that everybody else is focusing on. There's a systemic reason for that. And many people say that we always cry that the white man did this or the white man did that. And I'm certain that the white man is certainly guilty of 90% of the things that they say. But then there are some that say black folk need to do for themselves, self-determination. They need to be able to take care of themselves without the aid of government.
Well, they should and can and have proved it throughout the period, certain periods in American history. You know, after this thing called slavery, they did well from about 1868 to about 1900. Blacks had all kinds of economic opportunities, even their own towns and hospitals, clinics, banks, theaters, bus companies. You've heard me mention this many times. Whatever was out there, they had it. And now, I just told you, in 2026, blacks don't own anything that's significant except a house full of children. And most of those kids are poor, miseducated, and misdirected. And at the same time, you find the parents are getting younger, and they are in their late 20s and early 30s. They don't have time for their children. They usually give them away to the grandmothers and great-grandmothers. And most of that group, you know, have independent lifestyles. They have don't have 2 individuals in a household in most cases. You know, about 75% of them. All those kids are born out of wedlock in most cases. And this problem is going to get worse, Mrs. Socrates, because they have outlawed abortion. You know, they have killed, some people say 40, others say 50 million blacks since they had abortion in America. That started, I believe, in the 70s. Say they killed more blacks, babies in America than they killed blacks coming from Africa during the slave period. And it was legal to do it. And it was legal to have the slaves. So the same thing and the same people put those laws together that allowed these things to happen.
You don't believe in women's right
I believe in women's rights, but I don't believe they should have the right to kill their children. If they have the right to kill, then make it legal to kill anytime, anywhere.
even after birth.
It appears to be legal already, and they're doing a lot of killing.
Well, it's not legal, but they're doing a lot of
I'm
killing.
saying they're doing it.
But yeah,
Without-
it's happening. It's
Right.
happening. Speaking of that, in Jackson, Mississippi, we've had some horrendous crimes in the last 2 weeks. Doc, we're now seeing where people are targeting the children. 2 children, one 2 years old, one less than 1 years old, were murdered. You know, the old execution style, shot in the head. So one child was shot multiple times. And, you know, that's totally out of character for mankind and for Black folk in particular.
Well, that is correct. History shows that, and it's happening all over the country, but specifically in the southern states. But what a lot of people don't want to recognize, Mr. Socrates, if you look at the stats on these young men and women that's doing this, they are mostly high school or middle school dropouts. They are the type usually that don't have any marketable skills. They don't have the ability to go out and get a job to make what we call a living wage. And those young men and women want to have the things that they see others have: nice cars, nice clothing. They want to be able to wear certain shoes that they see the so-called middle-class guys and women wearing. They want to go to the clubs and have money to buy liquor and drugs and pay women to have relations with them and meet good people, males and females. So that's just normal economic objectives. But since they don't have the ability to earn this money, they just take it from others, and they'll kill your mama for 50 cents if they have a chance.
What has the church failed society, or had the parents failed?
both,
I mean,
both.
what's causing this breakdown, this moral breakdown in society?
Well, it's simple. It is, I would say, a multiplicity of reasons. Parents, government, churches, and community organizations. And the most serious group are the parents and the schools that are set up only to help the students that are able to pass, so to speak. And for years, you remember, I've been telling you the schools are set up to work with 10% of the students, those that are making a C or better. They care nothing about the 90% that are failing. And that's where most of the emphasis, their best teachers, and the training ought to be with those that's barely making it, starting in the 3rd grade, middle school students. Those that are not going to finish high school ought to be channeled into areas where they can get a certification in something and get a good job that'll make more than a college graduate would make.
Now, Doc, it doesn't look like they're trending in that direction to ever have a good job and to be able to afford these things that you said that they're desirous of. We got a lot of corruption in our city government right here in Jackson, Mississippi. I saw on the news today that we had 2 individuals that pleaded guilty to corruption and bribery in Jackson. The former mayor, Chokwe Lumumba, and the former council person, Aaron Banks. Last week, the attorney general pleaded guilty.
Yeah, district attorney, that's right.
The district attorney. And then, what long ago, we lost Marshawn Chrysler, who is currently incarcerated. He was a former acting sheriff. And we had another council person,
Yeah, Miss Lee.
Miss Lee.
Right.
And we had a business person that got caught up in this fiasco, Mr. Smith.
And according to the paper, there are others that will probably be included because when you start doing plea dealing, I know a little about this kind of thing, you usually get favors thrown in your direction if you tell on everybody you know that's doing something. And who is best to know who is doing underhand activities than the people that are doing it? And we all know that when you are told that if you talk and tell me who else is getting some of this pie, we're going to give you an opportunity to decide whether you want to go to prison for 18 months, 3 or 5 or 10 years. We're going to determine whether you can run for public office again, whether you can get a job in government, whether you will keep your license and certification, or if you don't talk, we're going to give you the maximum. And we are not going to give you an opportunity later even to appeal and win, because, you know, the judges and the lawyers determine, and the court system, when an appeal is going to take place. One can make the appeal. It might be 3, 5, or 10 years before it gets to the upper court level. And many times it starts on the lower level, goes to the state level, goes to the regional federal system, and then to the Supreme Court and on. And by the time you get all that done, you've been in jail 10, 15 years. And you're an old man or an old woman. Your children have finished high school and college. Your wife or your husband gone in another direction. They eventually get tired of you because you have drained all the resources from them by sending money on your ticket. And they usually abandon you after about 6 years. And there you are getting out of prison as an old man or an old woman with the ability to have done some great things. And you start off out of the house with your mother and try to build a new life, because that's where most of them go.
You
Go back home to mom or grandma, and they're in their 50s and 60s. I know a lot of them. I've been dealing with many like that for the last 15 or 20 years in the Jackson area. Nice men, nice women that were reformed when they were in jail. Now they are leaders, and they are doing great things in the city of Jackson and other places throughout the country.
Now, Doc, that's a pretty harsh picture you painted there as to what happens to an individual, that you technically lose everything, including your family and the support that you need so desperately. Now is when you really need support. And so, but the picture you paint is that most of the time, you know, one can't hardly recover from this kind of a setback.
Very difficult, especially if you stay in prison 5 years or more. I'm telling you, your support is going to diminish. I've had relatives to go to prison, and I don't know not one, male or female, that's had to spend over 5 years that got out and did anything significant. It is so difficult. It's very difficult to find a job. And if they don't have that ability to create one, they're just rejected almost everywhere they go. So those guys and ladies will have to have the ability to start a business and do something with it. And the bad part about it, where they're going to find the resources. They're not going to get it from the church. They're not going to get it from government grants. They're not going to get it from the corporate entities. So they have to build from the bottom. See if they're a relative or a friend or a very lucky organization might have a grant for them or a loan. But who's going to give someone a loan that doesn't have a job or the potential to get one?
Now, Doc, these individuals that we named represent the brightest minds in our community. These gentlemen and ladies were what we were dependent upon to lead the next generation, because they were highly educated, tremendously intelligent, and yet they find themselves falling for the oldest trap in America.
Well, that is correct. But see, the thing is, when people decide to do something that's illegal, they ought to think big and not small. Very few people that take millions of dollars, very few worry about going to jail. If you take about 30 or 40 million dollars, you're not going to spend one night in jail. You can get arrested. They take you to the police department, take a picture of you, take a fingerprint, and you walk on, go back home. Years pass before you have a trial. And if you really want to have 4 or 5 years to pass, you get something on the district attorney or some of the major lawyers in the community that represent your type of people. And you're going to have to get a lawyer then with less ability, and he or she might not have much experience. And those lawyers have to be paid too, but they will work for a smaller fee, and they don't have that experience that I just mentioned, and you know what's going to happen. Plea bargaining and long sentences.
Now, Doc, the interesting part of this deal is that Jackson is an 85% Black city, population greater than 85% African Americans in this city, greater than 70% in Hinds County. And yet, the crimes that they have pleaded on was trying to aid white folk in their development.
And self. That's
but
correct.
None of the struggling Black businesses were being aided in any way.
That's the way usually it happens.
White folk don't need any help to help them get a convention center hotel. So, I mean, as a young, aspiring leader of a 85% Black city, you would think that maybe I got in trouble because I was trying to help my folk. Maybe I got in trouble because, as John Brown said, somebody said, maybe I was getting into good trouble.
Yeah, that was John Lewis, I believe.
John Lewis.
Yeah.
And so maybe they were getting into good trouble. But falling to a sting to assist some white folk to get a hotel in Jackson, Mississippi, is a real slap in the face.
Well, you know how it goes, sir. When you are arrogant, when you have that middle class status, and you want to do better economically, you know, politicians don't make a lot of money in most positions, much less than those similar positions in the corporate area. So if you are in an appointed political position or an elected position, you're going to make about 1/2 or 70% of what the other person would make that's doing the similar job in the private sector. And you find it's not much better on the federal level. Those jobs don't pay a lot of money. So when you get that middle class status, you always want to improve. But if your job is not paying you enough to have 3 or 4 cars, an apartment on the coast or in New York City, the ability to have the credit card to let you fly on these private planes, you want to do like the other politicians you meet when you go to these conferences. And they, just like those in prison, will tell you how they are doing it. They'll tell you and share with you the connections they have to get those big contracts to do a speech at a regional conference for $15,000, $30,000. They'll tell you what they have done through the lobbyist, where they get hooked up with a corporation where they make $50,000 a year to meet 4 times with a big international corporation. On and on and on. And they will tell you that I wrote a book and it's a bestseller. And I'm making $50,000 a month out of that. And they didn't write a word. They hired a ghostwriter to do it. On and on and on. And when you have young politicians, young preachers, and young so-called executive hearing and seeing this kind of thing, that's very enticing. It is like being in love for the first time. You think you're in heaven. I have someone that loves me, that's looking out for me, that's protecting me, that's giving me information on the right paths to go.
That's serious when you're in love for the first time. I remember as a 9-year-old boy, I used to write them little letters and fold them up in little triangles and pass it on to her. She kissed me, and I didn't wash my face for 2 weeks.
That's the way it used to be.
That's the way it used to be.
Right.
But Doc, now it takes $600,000 to win the mayor's race in Jackson. And yet you say the job doesn't pay much.
It pays a little over in a big city like Jackson. It all depends on your negotiation skills, but probably $125,000 to $130,000. And it could be a part-time job, but we know being a mayor of any city or supervisor in any county, that's a full-time job. I don't care what the description says. You are going to have to make a lot of money. Or you have a little side job, or if even in business, you're not going to be able to put the attention to your business if you abandon your political position. One got to go. And therefore, since you're not making the money you used to make before you got elected, you're going to lean towards finding the way to make more money in your political position.
And how do you do that?
By building coalitions with people like lobbyists.
Now, what is the role of a lobbyist? Our viewers, we really got to understand, and we got to help our aspiring young folk that are running for office. We got to help them understand how not to fall in certain traps. There needs to be training for people that are running for elected office. They don't need to be poor to the extent that they're going to have to take something to survive.
Well, I don't want to say it, sir, but I've been saying it for years. A poor man that's not able to make a livable wage for his family or woman should not be in a political office, because you don't have to have any skills to be a politician. All you have to do is figure out a way to win. And if you look at the deal, in most of the positions, over 98% of them, you don't have to have a college degree. But some of the special areas like law, you will have to have a law degree and pass the bar. But be governor, to be the president and all that kind of thing. If you have enough money to win, you could have a high school diploma and be a senator.
You can be the mayor of Jackson with a
high school diploma, or GED. Most certainly can, if you're old enough, if you're 21 years of age and you live in the district. And all you have to do then is be able to speak well enough to convince someone that you are going to do something for them. And in order to convince them, all you do is tell most voters that you're going to look out for their water problems. You're going to make sure you have a reduction in criminal activity. You're going to lower the prices on goods and services, and you're going to create jobs. But you don't tell them how you're going to do it. You're going to tell them where you're going to get the funds from, where you're going to get the expertise from, because the politician doesn't have that expertise. And in most cases, he's not going to appoint or hire someone with the expertise to do it, because the people that can do it, they don't have enough money to pay them to take those jobs. Those jobs are $150,000 to $200,000 a year, economic development specialists. And they don't have the ability to raise funds to do that, because they mostly don't have experience. They don't have donors they can pick up the phone and call, rich super people that can give them $2 or $3 million for a special project. And then the tax status in the community is not bad, it's poor, because the people that have the money usually don't live in these areas with a low economic base. They live outside of that area. Now, they don't mind working in a city like Jackson, but they most certainly are not going to live there unless they carve out a special section in a corner of that city or that county for their own interests, residential and businesses, and have the regulations and the ordinance in place where not too many other groups can come in that's not looking like them.
Is that a so-called carved out corner that we call Fondren
It
in
could
Jackson?
be Northeast Jackson,
Northeast Jackson?
and Memphis has that same configuration. New York City, almost all the big cities in America, there is a dividing line. And as you know, in the old days, it was the railroad track. You know that.
Yeah.
But now it's the residential pattern, and it's always been that way.
Well, didn't President Clinton move his office into Harlem, into the Manhattan area?
Well, he might have, but there was politics. And that's where the lifestyle that he wanted to be associated with, was happening. Obama did the same thing. He moved his library down into the so-called ghetto area of Chicago. And now you see how he built that area up. They created a lot of jobs, and a lot of people are going to be mighty impressed, I understand, when they get a chance to visit that museum and see what's going on.
Now we're up against a commercial break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about the last mayoral election, the number of people that ran for that office, and why some of them did better than others, and what happens now when you have this kind of shield over our city, this veil over our city right now. It's going to be extremely quiet here in Jackson, Mississippi for the next week or two, based upon the breaking news that former Mayor Chokwe Lumumba has pleaded guilty to bribery, and former City Council person Aaron Banks has done the same. We're going to go to commercial break. You stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Oh, what a beautiful day outside. Great day to be working with the We Believe Digital Network. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? I wasn't expecting you to be here yet, but since you're here, hey, welcome to the We Believe Digital Network, where we make your dreams come true. We have a podcast station and a radio station that I'm about to show you. Come on inside. Okay, so now that you're inside, let me take you into the room where we make all the magic happen, right here in the We Believe Digital podcast and radio station studio itself. All right, then, y'all ready? Let's go. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes room of the We Believe Digital podcast, where all the podcast and engineering happens and when we make all the magic happen. I am your engineer, head engineer, JB. How you doing? Hope all is well. Currently right now at the We Believe Digital Network, we have a deal going on for $99 an hour studio sessions. So don't miss out on this opportunity. Let us know if you want it. And reach out to your team and we'll build your dream. Have a good one. Oh, come on in. Hey, welcome to the behind the scenes of the We Believe Digital radio station, where everything We Believe Digital radio takes place. I am currently mixing and mastering a playlist for the radio station. Speaking of that, if you have any suggestions or even your own songs or podcasts or talk shows that you might want to be featured right here on the radio station, you can email us at webelieveplatforms@gmail.com. Hey, feel like your voice needs to be heard? Ever wanted to be on your own podcast or even be a part of one? Guess what? You now can right here at the We Believe Digital Network, but we'll make it happen. You can catch us at this email, at this location, and this phone number.
SocratesGarrettENT.com is a diversified firm specializing in recycled aggregates and crushed concrete. SocratesGarrettENT.com's recycled materials provide the construction industry with significant economic and environmental benefits by recycling clean concrete rubble into M.grade rock materials. Recycled aggregates and crushed concrete can be applied to driveways, road construction, bank protection, parking lots, general bulk fills, and more. By using Socrates Garrett ENT.com's crushed concrete products, anyone from homeowners to general contractors can help reduce landfilled concrete waste, conserve natural resources, and gain significant economic savings on materials and disposal costs. For more information, please call 601-896-0084 or visit us online at SocratesGarrettENT.com.
And we're back. You're watching Doc and Sock on We Believe Digital Network. If you're watching us on Facebook, then send us a star, subscribe to this program. You know, tell your friends and family about the program. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of these shows. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the notification bell as well. Share this program with your friends and family and subscribe. You can find us on Twitch. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. We're here for you. We look at the analytics. We know you're watching all over the world. We appreciate that. Your support means everything to us so that we can continue bringing you the kind of information that you won't get anywhere else, and especially on the traditional networks that are controlled by whomever is producing the program. You know, when I see local anchors of TV stations, I know that they have a script and they can't deviate from that one bit. But here, Doc and I are going to go back and forth, and some things that there is no script. And so we're going to talk about it as it comes up, and we're going to do the best to bring you clarity on what's going on in our communities. Doc, just to summarize and get back to it, we are experiencing tremendously high crime rates in Jackson. The mayor here brought in a new police chief. Is she going to be able to make a difference?
Well, not in the near future, unless she does something that she knows what to do. And if she doesn't do it, she's not going to be successful. The first thing she's going to have to do is, believe it or not, build a coalition with her folks, the sheriff department, the court system, and especially the public school system, and community organizations, and build coalitions and repurpose at least 3 schools in the Jackson area that they have closed by spending thousands of dollars and millions of dollars and creating new credential programs, starting with those young people in the 3rd grade through high school that are what we call marginal students. And they are going to have to be retrained and not look for high school regular diplomas, and give them the ability to take credentials instead of certificates of graduation, and put them in programs where they can get a certification in 2 or 3 weeks, 6 months, 12 months, and have on-the-job training, have mentors, and have a parenting component where the parents are given a summary of what their child is going to be taught, and have a counseling component for the parents that address financial literacy and mental awareness. And if you don't do that, the parents not going to get any better. The kids going to see all this chaos going on at home, and the parents have already almost given up. They are working so hard. Many of them have 2 and 3 jobs, and they're not making the, especially those that are in the serving industry. And you can't make a lot of money in tips, on tips, when you're working in an area where folks don't usually give tips. So what you going to do? Get 3 part-time jobs somewhere and leave your kids at home when they are 8 years of age and let them keep the other 2 or 3. Grandmother, in many cases, is too young to keep them. They have to work too, because they're in their 50s. And great-grandmother is too old and sick to raise some kids. Suppose my father had to raise his great-grandchildren. He couldn't have done it.
No.
Couldn't do it.
No, he couldn't have done it, but he was 102 now.
That's right. But he still couldn't have done it. After he passed 90, he wouldn't have been able to raise kids because he considered himself the father, but he didn't make significant decisions. And when I would try to help him and give him advice, he'll tell me, don't you tell me anything. I'm the father, you're the child. I know what's best for me. And I laugh about it just like you're doing and say, that's right, Pa. You can have it the way you want to have it. And then tomorrow, I would tell him the same thing, and he would gradually yield to the recommendation or suggestion I make because I could show him why and how it would be easier for him to make it if he would make a few adjustments here and there. That's why he kept his driver's license until 3 months ago.
Well, Doc, you make an association between crime and children and parenting in a way that I believe you are of the mindset that the crime is emanating from those groups. And we already have laws that say they're going to hold the parents accountable for the crimes that their children commit, which I don't agree with at all. But I don't know what else a parent can do.
Well, a parent can learn parenting skills. They never been taught parenting skills. See, you just don't go out and have a bunch of children when you turn 14, male or female, and you never had any parenting training at home. See, a lot of our folks and a lot of my relatives, they didn't have any parenting skills at home, nor did they have friends that had good parenting because most of them were in the same situation. They taught each other. They worked together, run around together. And when you don't have anybody with specific ideologies that's positive, you're going to do what others tell you to do. That's your peers. And they had no training, none whatsoever. So they're going to do what they see on television and what they hear and see the rappers do. And that's heaven for them. So they want to get them a gun, get them some drugs. They don't drop out of school, even though many of them have the ability to stay in school and do something, but they don't have mentors and people to help them. The counselors care nothing about them because they say they have too many problems. I'd rather work with those that got a B average higher, that 10% that I like to get on these educators about, and forget about the 90%. And that's when the new police chief and others are going to have to work with that 90% that's causing all the hell and corruption in Jackson, Memphis, New York City, cities all over the country. And I'm not talking about blacks. I'm talking about poor young people of any and all races that fit in that category.
Now, Doc, corruption is a thing that's running rampant in the state of Mississippi. Where you have high poverty, there's a correlation that says you have high crime. And so we have tremendous poverty in the state of Mississippi, and we're the poorest state in the nation, and we're the unhealthiest state. The infant mortality rate is higher than anywhere else in the country. More babies are dying. They don't get to see their first birthday than any place else. We're fat, we're obese. And so we got a lot to overcome down here in Mississippi. And no one seems to be coming to help. No businesses are moving into the Jackson, Mississippi area. And so the future doesn't look very bright. But we have a new mayor that is saying that he has a vision and that he's going to be able to make a difference. Now, what we hear now, and probably the mayor won't talk to anybody because, there's a ceiling when the FBI comes into the marketplace. It's a ceiling that's established over the whole economy. Nobody talks to anybody anymore. Nobody makes a phone call and says that, we got opportunities over here to do this or that. It chills the economy, and we didn't have a robust economy to begin with in Jackson. So let's go back and take a look at some of the challenges that Mississippi had. Now, I'll take you back to Louis Armstrong. He ran for mayor. He wasn't able to win as mayor, but he ran for the city council seat and was victorious.
Correct.
But what happened to him?
Well, he ended up going to prison because of the same thing that others here recently that we've been talking about, bribing, taking bribes, because he was a great young man, had great skills. I remember when he was at Jackson State University, he had a lot of appeal there. He had respect from the administrators and the student. He was with the Student Government Association. And we all knew that he was a future governor or member of the Mississippi Senate or congressman that would represent Mississippi somewhere in Washington or wherever, or become an ambassador. He was a sharp man, had great communication skills, had a good education, and according to the females, he was handsome, and he had confidence as a young man. And he had some personal problems that led him in another direction. And when your enemies find that you have personal problems, they feed those problems. And when you know anything, they got wires on you, your cousin, all your relatives, all your friends. And that's why you said just a few minutes ago, everybody's scared to talk, because all the people that are in positions of what we call responsibility know others and hear rumors about their friends and their church members and so forth that's in positions of high responsibility. And they know, they talk to them, went to school with them. A lot of them go to the same churches. They're in the same sororities and fraternities, in the same 100 black men and these Hurons of Jericho and the Masons and all of that. They know those guys well, and they just don't know who to trust. So you think they're going to be bold and try to do something? They're going to maintain the status quo. The politician now for the next 4 or 5 years in Jackson going to say, I want to get me in office for 4 years and get paid, and I'm not going to make any rumble. I'm just going to make promises.
I'm not going to advocate for the economic development for my citizens. I'm not going to say anything.
And then the governor and the legislature have then would have a chance to smile and take everything in that municipality, because if we got them where we want, now we done whipped them down. We have the handcuffs on them. The jaws are locked. And we're going to make sure that they don't get out of this in the next 50 years. We're going to take the resources that they have and we're going to control it. And the first thing they're going to do is put more people on the boards of control, put their man or woman as the chairman, and they are going to tell them where the money is going, even though they are going to give these commissions and groups good money, but they're going to tell them where to spend it. Now, a lot of people don't like to believe that when you get appointed to a big time position in the court system, in the corporate system, in the education system, when you are interviewed by a board of control, they are going to tell you there are certain things you must do if you want this job, John Doe. There are other things you can decide to do in certain categories, providing over $5,000 not involved. You can make those decisions, but it's over 4,000 or 5,000, you got to come to us. Your job is to be a gopher for us. You are the superintendent. You don't make any decisions. We are the school board. We are the board of directors. We tell you what to do and go and do it. Now, you can give me some recommendations, but if I think they're good, we're going to study those recommendations. And then, since we don't have any money, we're going to put them on the shelf for 3 or 4 years. The problem is going to get worse, and we're going to do some additional studies.
So if you want to take over a municipality or county or school board, you target the leadership. And I have to say that I am very, very disappointed in the fact that there are some people in the largest welfare scandal in the history of the state of Mississippi that were found not guilty of taking money, welfare money.
About 12 jurors, right?
Yeah,
That's right, by the jury.
by the jury.
Well, that's the way it's done in high money criminal activity. I
But
don't
we-
want
but
you
the-
to
but the-
understand. Go ahead.
But the sheriff was accused of selling bullets,
Mhm.
and he got sent away. And now I'm not certain exactly what Mr. Banks was accused of having received, but it couldn't have been a lot of money. None of this is about a great deal of money. It's not the $96 million that the white lady took out of the
Credit union.
credit union. We're talking about, rumor has it that, $10,000 or $50,000,
Right.
and you lose your whole career, and you lose your family, and you lose your support for that kind of money, Doc.
And the other thing, Mr. Socrates, that people don't realize, you break your family.
Yeah.
Your mother, your father, your grandfather. You have getting your mother's Social Security check. You're getting your daddy's pension money. And on and on and on. Your kids now can't go to X university. They got to go to a junior college or drop out and get a job. Then you're going to lose your credibility when you come back into the community. You can't get in those same circles. You're going to have to be on the lower tier. You're going to have to stay out of sight for a long time until you build that confidence.
And how do you rebuild yourself to have that confidence?
Oh, that's very simple. You have to go out and apologize to everybody you meet. Say, I have done my time. I have skills and ability. Create your own job and build yourself up to be better than you were prior to going into this criminal justice system. That can be done. If you have a professional credential, use it. If you don't, you could be a consultant in that area. I know professional people that had law degrees, medical degrees, accounting degrees, and others, and they lost the ability to use them. And legally, they could be a consultant in medicine, in law. They can't practice law, but they can be a consultant and work with a law firm as an advisor and make money.
Do they lose the right to even vote?
Well, they can. It all depends on what they've done. Now, if it's certain felonies, most certainly they lose the right to vote. But see, that's not a major thing in the minds of the people that destroy politicians like that. They know their friends and relatives don't vote very much in the first place. They ain't worried about that. They don't want this person to get in a political position and become a good politician because that guy will be independent. So they're going to make sure he or she is not independent, and they're going to do whatever they can to sabotage this person. And when they start hanging those silver tits out, man, they look excited when you start waving it. I gave you the example some time ago about them little babies in that carriage. They can't even talk, can't walk, can't even crawl. And when that little bird starts flying over them, it gets their attention, and they start talking, making those mumbling sounds. They start reaching. That's something different. That's something new. And that's the way to do the preachers and the politicians and the corporate leaders. They're starting down at the bottom.
We're out of time.
Out of
you
time.
know, the time goes so fast. Doc, we're going to have an additional show, maybe on Wednesday night, if your schedule will allow it, then, because there's so much to talk about. So much that we got to get to. And our audience and our viewers out there are accustomed to shorter programs, and we realize that the attention span is nowhere near what it used to be. And so we don't want to go longer than an hour, but you know, we're going to have to come on more frequently to cover all of this stuff. But Doc, I'm going to ask you this, and my final remarks is this, is that these families that are affected now, these children, are they need to be held up in prayer? Do the clergy have a responsibility and a role to kind of support? This is 3 prominent families that went down in this deal. Do we need to have prayer vigils for these individuals?
No. You need to get some money together and give those children scholarships, internships. If they have the potential to be great in any area, law, medicine, accounting, teaching, help them get a scholarship so they won't have to be working while they're in school. And $200 and $500 not going to be any good. I notice in the paper, I get 3 or 4 newspapers, and every time you look, they're giving them from $100 to $500. That won't do anybody any good that's going to college. They still have to work part-time if they don't have a full scholarship. Even if they had a full scholarship, what would $500 do? Some of these organizations around here, and I talk about it all the time, they will give 10 $100 scholarships or 10 $200 or $300 scholarships. 10 individuals. They need to give that money to one person that has the skills to become a professional in his field of interest, so they won't have to work part-time. So if you don't have a full scholarship, $200 or $300 is not going to help you one time.
Well, Doc, we're going to come back and keep unpacking that. There's something that the community needs to do, and I'm not exactly certain what that is, but we're going to keep searching for it as we bring you this kind of information. For those of you that are watching all around the world, this is Doc and Sock bringing you the kind of data and information that you won't get anywhere else. Doc, any closing remarks?
Well, I would just like to close to let the viewers and the listeners know that if they need to contact us, we have a contact number, 601-201-1957. If you need a speaker or someone to do a workshop or seminar for you, that number is 601-201-1957. Or you can email us at clu369@gmail.com. And we'll travel anywhere in the world, of course, if they foot the bill.
You heard it here, and We Believe Digital. Y'all stay safe and good night.